Look, walking in my purpose on purpose. It ain't nothing this world could offer that could amount to what God showed me my worth is. I'm working. Oh yeah, I'm in my bed. No working, going so hard for God. Shout out to the devil won't murk me, but he ain't got no power. These haters sour cause I made it. My voice ain't doing it, it's only by his grace I'm in his favor. Prayer, that's what I use to learn to step tape. The Holy Spirit fill me with courage on top of the faith. That's why. So I'm walking in my purpose on purpose. Yeah. So I'm walking in my purpose on purpose. Okay. So I'm walking in my purpose on purpose. Yeah. On purpose. Yeah. Hey, what I'm doing.
So today with us on Store Talk, we have back with us a very special guest, introducing to some, presenting to others. We have a coach. This coach is very special to me and very special to her players and even other players, as they always mention the impact that she has on them, the coaching style that she has, just the hard work that she gets out of them, and how much a better player they are because of they've been under her programs or coached by her or even her assistants. Today we have with us the one, the only Coach Niki McCoy. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
That was some intro. Thank you.
You deserve it, man. Because that, like I said, man, that's how you see the real, true impact, and that's how you know by the fruits that's on them, and it's showing from the players how they love to practice. They love when they got games. You know, you can kind of tell because you see the enthusiasm. They just ain't playing just to be playing. They're learning something, and you know, they're getting something. I had a question that I've been waiting to ask you.
Of
How
course.
would handle being that it's about to be it or it's the end of the AAU season as they are transitioning back to their prospective teams? Like, you know, they're gonna have a mindset with you. You know, you coach a different style going back. I was interviewing a young lady and she was like, it's gonna be different going back to her team because it's not the same. And I know a lot of your players getting some there's no disrespect to no other coaches, but you coach how you coach because that's what type of coach you are. So how would you allow them to transition? What would you say to them?
Yeah, so first and foremost, AAU is meant to propel you to get to where you want to go. So I think my job as an AAU coach, as a director, as an owner, is to say, what do you need to do once you get back to school ball? During your off season, I should be preparing you for that. So you listen to your school ball coach, right? If I get something out of you that maybe you don't feel you can do during season, if I've coached you once, you've been in my program, you always have access to me. So people can still utilize me throughout the season. I don't care where they go to school. I don't care if they play for a different program. I don't ever have to coach them another day in my life, but I can always help get them to where they want to go no matter what. So I'm huge with this. All of our AAU coaches are the same. You're going to hear certain things from us, and we're going to push you a certain way to prepare you for when you get back with your school coaches. Now, you need to listen to them. That's why we don't do much in June, so you can focus on what your school ball coach is telling you. And then whatever you need to keep fine tuning and developing, we're still available, so you can still come back and use us for that. But I think, that transition, that's a beautiful thing. That means that you learned something completely different and a whole different style in your off-ball season, as opposed to the same thing over and over, and then you start to plateau. You want kids to realize coaches are very different. And this is what I take from this coach, this is what I take from this coach, but at the end of the day, they all want me to be successful.
Yeah. What were some highlights from your past AAU season and how did that go?
Oh my God. We could have a 3 hour interview right now if we just talked about that. But I would say obviously we grew from 4 teams, 37 girls, to 11 teams, over 100 girls, within one season. So I guess, one of the biggest takeaways is that all in all, it was a success. We did what we said we would. Obviously, there's always going to be hiccups here and there, but I had the trust of our parents that were able to talk to me, convey those things to me, and then we were able to make adjustments where needed, and then now make it better for next year. But I think, that was a huge highlight. But I would say genuinely watching some of these kids that I know have so much pressure on them. All they care about is winning. They win and it's like no big deal, but they lose and it's the end of the world. Watching them switch gears to have fun with it too, that was exciting because I am a certain type of coach. I have high expectations, but I lead with love because I truly believe that if you trust me, if we have a certain type of relationship, and again, never crossing a coach-player relationship because boundaries, some coaches forget there's boundaries, but making sure that they know that everything I do is for their better, to better them and for their greater good. watching them enjoy it, that's what I enjoy. Watching them say, oh, I've never done this before, and I was able to be MVP of this tournament, or I did a move that we worked on in practice. Like that, those little victories are huge to me. And that's when you start to build and grow even farther as a player, and you have more success because you start trusting your coach and you allow them to push you a certain type of way. I could talk about a million girls in our program, but specifically, Ayana Sawyer, she's a player that was on my yeah, you're like, yeah, on my 7th grade gold team. She will put pressure on herself till the cows come home. And actually all those 7th grade elite players would. But she's also kind of like a tough exterior. You don't really know if she's enjoying it, if she's upset. But watching her elevate the way she did this season, if you were grading on a scale of 1 to 10, she's playing at a 15. But then also watching her smile during it,
Yeah.
that's it, right?
I'm
And then
saying
not
that
only that,
too.
right, and not only that, but you're smiling, but then you're also, and this, I'm very honest with her. She used to walk into practice and I would say, all right, did you just wake up? Where are we at? But then she started putting that work in, she started having fun, and then she would show up to practice hyping other people up. She would show up to practice like, I'll go second in a drill, I'm first, I'll demonstrate, and then she's leading her team on the court. So watching all of that unfold, yes, build skill every day, all day. Molly Schaefer, one of my players that came back from church camp and being sick, missed every shot she took, airballed a couple threes, but then comes back and does a pull-up three to win the game at the end of the game because she's confident in it. That's what I enjoy seeing, because I know that you've learned not just how to go between your legs or how to go in a transition fast-paced drill, but you've learned it on a deeper level, you've kept confidence, and then now you're seeing that unfold.
Yeah, and just
So
like your players, they don't want to let their teammates down. They want to always be there for her. You had a player, Jazz, who finger messed up. She trying to play, and then she can't play, but she's still there with her girls, and she's helping them, and she's being, cheering them on and all like that. That camaraderie and that support, like you can't beat that. Being the owner, the director, and the coach, can you shout out some of your other assistant coaches as well? Because your program is just top tier, and it starts from the head. And now all the other teams is getting the same type of thing. It ain't just like your team is just this way. It's on different levels because of how you guys coach, and you guys are on the same page. Nobody is trying to be above the next person. It's all about the kids. So can you give them other coaches some love?
absolutely. So I've been very, very blessed. I've had the right people around me that have the same type of vision that I do. And even if they didn't, they were like, okay, explain it to me, Nikki. And then they were willing to rock with it. So Verdell Billingsley, he was our 8th grade gold coach. He is just intelligent isn't the right word. But the way he breaks the game down is in a cerebral approach is beautiful, because he was able to take that 8th grade elite team and teach them a whole different concept of basketball that once you learn it, you're good to go. And they did. And once they learned it, it clicked. They were winning championships, their players, everybody's scoring. It's not like I'm a role player, I'm a top player. Every single person is contributing. And then, like you said, you have girls that are injured coming down, driving down with other parents 2 hours just to come sit on the bench and be his assistant coach because they buy into what he's doing so much. Jazz sitting on my bench, still saying, you know what, I'm injured, but I'm going to learn from a coach's perspective. Sean Savage, he was our 6th grade gold coach. He is also very cerebral with the game, but he's also the type of guy that says, I don't know what I don't know, and I would love to bring other people in to bounce ideas off of. We had some really great parents in that group that have coached, and that he really said, hey, what do you guys see, and what should we be adding to this? So he's very collaborative, which is a huge thing when it comes to that age group. He doesn't think that it's my way or the highway. Tim Lambert, he was our 6th grade development coach. He has an eye for developing on a level that I can't do. So he will break every single part of the game down and teach you the fundamentals. Even if you're scoring 50 points a game, he knows that that might not be the case once you get to high school. So how do I now teach it? We've had 6 players from Lords come coach with us. Joey Hollyfield do an internship with us. So they obviously all collaborate, and they're playing at a very high level already. So they understand what the girls want to do, what they need to do. They understand the game a little differently than us old heads do. And then obviously we have Samuel Conowitz, who was my assistant coach, who came in and didn't just sit on the bench and wasn't just a cheerleader. She adds really insightful knowledge in the 1-3-1. Don't get sucked up too high, hold back until they bait them in, and very IQ driven, but then also very much so a positive support system. We had Laura Carr and James Pierce at our high school levels, and they are very fundamental. And I know they're competitive. They wanted to do a lot of things that, you know, once we get to a certain level, we have to kind of say, okay, there's a lot of schedules and navigating, but they're committed to what they do as well. So after this season, we have 4 of us that have now taken head coaching jobs in this area, and I think that's just, you know, that's a beautiful thing to say that, hey, the more we can get people on board with this type of style, I don't think it should be a, let's just keep it over here. Let's expand it. I want as many coaches that want to be involved as possible. I just think I'm not the only person. It's not just my idea. I think that if the more people I can truly say, tell me what you think, what you know basketball, I know basketball, like let's collaborate, let's brainstorm this together. And I think the unfortunate part is that there are some not older, but there are some people that have been doing this for a while, coaching in the area. And I will say there are some entitled men doing this that they will allow women or people that have, you know, good ideas and development styles. They will allow us to do a lot of the work, and then they'll kind of sit back and once the season comes, or once they get that player back with them, it's like, well, I did that and this is my player, and they'll kind of ride off that coattail, as opposed to being in that more collaborative developmental phase. And I wish more of us were willing to put that work in early and not just reap the rewards and the benefit, you know?
Yeah, but that's what I love about you, because you are all in it for the player. It ain't about you. It's what you put in it, and you willing to collab. You said that when we started. I'm willing to collab because it's all about this player. So the more hands, the merrier. What do you what drives you as to be the type of coach you are, and your love for the girls, your love for the game? What drives you?
I think what drives me is truly, when I played in high school, I've told people this. I went 96-4. I went 56-0 and 56-0 in our league. So I never lost to anybody in the NLL. And I only lost 4 games in high school. That is not because I was a stellar standout player, right? That's because I had coaches develop me, and that's because I had right players around me. So I always think, man, that was amazing. I went to states twice. I had this amazing opportunity. Now my time's over. How do we now give that back to other girls? And I think of it from the perspective of, you know, we all want to get on Facebook and talk a lot about what the area has and what girls are going to do what, but who's actually saying, like, let's get there and develop them. The amount of back to the basket moves with repetition I just did over and over with Coach Kreidel, you know, at Northview, that's priceless. That's something that you can't say, oh, I'm paying a trainer $500 to do. That's just something that you have to get in the gym and do over and over and over. And so I think truly being able to say that was given to me, and now understanding the mental health approach a little differently, I want to be able to do that, but then pair the positive mindset and all of that with it. And I just think that there is, when it comes to sports, even when you watch the Olympics, the amount of teammates, the amount of coaches, and the amount of staff and people just around those folks that are just doing a singular event, that's huge. So why, if we were given that, why wouldn't we want to give that back to everybody else?
Yeah. What key lessons do you think that the girls learned this summer playing against great competition at the big tournaments? What key lessons do you think that they learned that they would take with them, you know, for their season in the fall?
So I think all of our teams learned that it doesn't matter what jersey you wear. It doesn't matter, you know, what someone's stats were. If you are willing to play a team, if you're willing to bring a team approach and a positive mindset, you can, the sky's the limit. Especially when you look at our elite teams, you have all of the best players from their schools all vying for spots on the court. And this is a testament to my 7th grade gold team. All of my 7th grade elite players are elite players. They can beat certain varsity teams right now, but never once throughout the season, none of those players said, how many points did I have? Nobody asked to look at the book. I guarantee I won't remember ever having a player on our team ask a single stat. And I think that's the biggest thing they're able to learn, that you can be a team even if you're all the top players. And knowing that, like, my 7th grade team, very transparent. We went 0-3 at Fort Wayne at a tournament. I said, hey, we're we're just going back to basics. We're practicing for 3 weeks straight. We're going to become a team again. And then that'll determine if we go to Run for Roses at the end of the season. We buckled down, and we really had some hard-nosed practices where any little thing that's not team, you're doing push-ups, you're running. So we really said, this is a team and this is what we have to do. And then after that, we played a certain type of basketball that we hadn't been playing that whole season prior. We went down to Run for the Roses and we went 3-1. So, I mean, I think that the team approach, our developmental teams that probably thought, oh man, I don't really know what we're going to be able to do. I think they saw that if you have a team approach, you can be successful, even regardless of what a score is. You can be successful and you can see yourself starting to be in the right spots on the court, doing the right things, implementing some new things. And like I said, just having fun with the game.
Yeah, what I took back just being a spectator on the season and following you guys, being privileged to do that as well. You guys never quit to the end because you guys won a couple games with some big shots at the end. So that tells me they're playing to 0-0-0 to that buzzer and they're not giving up, and I know they're going to take that with them because they're all competitive.
Absolutely. And I think, it was my biggest thing when we started the season was raise your hand if you feel comfortable taking the last second shot if it's a second left and we're down by 2 points. And I don't know if it's kind of me by the end of the season. I guarantee everybody to me. I got it right now. And I wholeheartedly believe that because girls have been in that position and they've been ready and they've stepped up and that's all I can ask them to do.
Yeah, and I wanted to say congratulations on your new coaching position at Maumee Valley. Some say the Valley. That's what the kids say. The Valley. I'm here. Look. I'm learning.
I gotta get hit.
What kind of program are you looking to start and build over there?
So my biggest thing, the one word that I keep coming back to is legacy. So I truly believe when you look at Maumee Valley, obviously they've had good coaches. I mean, you had Tiffany Blackman, who was there previously, who just got Coach of the Year this past year. So it's not like they didn't have the right people in place. It's just the program as a whole wasn't very robust. And what I would like to do coming in, and I was very transparent when taking the role, was I want to build from the ground up. I want to take, what are our younger groups doing? How do we build them and develop them? Let's not wait till they get to high school. So now these kids are going to come in with all the divisions changing and all that. You're going to come in and not really having done much before. You're going to build a legacy. If you're able to come right in and say, hey, I'm going to buy into what Coach Niki's asking me to do. I'm going to take my time and I'm going to build it from our 6th, 7th, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th grade. And I'm really going to just be disciplined. Everything we do needs to be surgical, precise, very disciplined, because everything else, the glory will come after that. But just being able to say, this is my legacy, not mine as a coach, but the girls. This is their legacy. You created this program and you truly had victory and success, and you're able to show people in the area what you do. Now you have players that are wanting to come join you just because they understand that Maumee Valley, they're able to do something in the league and they're able to get to states, So legacy is the biggest thing that I would really like to incorporate with Maumee Valley.
Yeah, and what attracted you to that job? Because I'm pretty sure other people were asking and calling and trying to get you. So it had to be right for you,
Yep.
being that you took it. So what attracted you to it?
Yeah, so I had some other phone calls for sure. What I will say, I was almost uncertain if I wanted to coach high school or school ball this season. I was like, hey, maybe I'll just do AAU and just kind of hang out. But as my wife pointed out, our household would be miserable if I didn't coach throughout the season. So here I am. But when I took this role, I was very specific when having the conversations with my family about, I don't want to come in and say, here, I'm going to states my first year, and then you have all this glory right away. And then what do you have after that? You're just praying and hoping that somebody comes up in your feeder system. My biggest thing was I need to go somewhere where the AD trusts me, where the school trusts me, where I have gym space available, and where I can bring the type of players to the program that I want. So meaning not in recruiting or coaching in any sense like that, but I can say there isn't a team before you right now that we have to kind of navigate and flesh out. It's right now you can come right in and you can make something happen and create that legacy. So when Rob Conover, the AD, reached out, we actually discussed this for a little over a year before actually agreeing to it. it all made sense. Like, this is the right time. There's a lot coming up within the next few grades. We have a lot of really good leaders right now that are already present in the program. They were just waiting for something to happen with it. We have 3 gyms and we don't have indoor fall sports. And I'm there all the time. So being able to have access to truly develop kids, to say, hey, I'm at work throughout the summer. If you want to come up and get shots in, you can be here 9 to 3 all day, every day if you want. Shoot on the gun, stay out of getting in trouble, just get in the gym. All of those things fell into place, and it made it so it just made a lot of sense that if I'm willing to put the work in and bring the right coaches along, which I believe we have so far, then I truly think that that's a whole different type of ball game than just stepping into something that already has talented players there. Of course, all the players and coaches at those schools, God bless, because you are in great positions. But I just know that I'm thinking right now long term, because I would never go to a school and just say I'll be here for a year or two. When I go somewhere, I say I'm going to stick in. And if you allow me to, I'm going to build this a certain way.
Yeah. Offensively, what type of team and program would you want to be?
Oh, ideally, I would love to be a fast-paced team. I would love to have girls that want to play in college. And when you think of college ball, you think of a shot clock, right? Obviously, only smart shots. You don't have to shoot within 30 seconds. I always tell people, if you see a team is tired, let's take a good 45 seconds off the shot clock, make them burn their legs, score at the end of it, defeat them, and then it's really a whole different ball game. But I love a team that can be very fast-paced. If we can get all the way up the court without any dribbles and just bam, bam, pass, and go layup, that'd be amazing for me. If we can get a lot of our offense off of steals and deflections, that would be even more ideal for me. I truly only try to run quick hitter plays. Outside of that, I try to move as much as possible. And I think then that's where the development comes in, right? So I have to teach you how to play one-on-one basketball. I have to teach you how to play 2-man game. I have to teach you how to space and fill and where to attack gaps, so that when we do get into games, we can have that type of team that just is, we have certain structure and rules within offense, but then now you can go play basketball. But I think right now, a lot of coaches say go play basketball without teaching the actual development portion of that.
Yeah. And what about defense? What kind of defensive strategy would you have?
So if anybody watched my 7th grade elite team, my 7th grade gold team, that is the defense I want. We play a very aggressive 13, so 1-3-1 trapping press. We fall right back into a man-to-man because they're so versatile. You can pick up anybody at that point. We switch everything. If we're not in our press, we are full court man-to-man. And no matter what I say, if you're tired, I promise you I'll get you a sub and go right back in. But we run that type of game the whole time, and I guarantee we get 20 to 25 points just off of defensive deflections from our aggressive defensive play. I give them a challenge at times, say they're up by quite a bit. I'll say, okay, let's see how many seconds we can get them to stay outside the 3-point line. I would like you to take 10 to 15 seconds off the clock before they can even break through the 3-point line. And at that point, now I don't want anybody even getting into the key. Let's make them take all their shots outside the key. So I try to be very specific. Even, like I said, when you're up by 30, 40 points, now let's put in rules to make you really buckle down and play defense. I'll say all the time, like, I don't want any steals off of stealing off the dribble. I want all steals off of deflections and running through passing lanes, because then you're already on a trajectory. You're beating your players because you're already on a forward movement. So I'm very specific on aggressive, be loud, get into the other player's head. Jazz is on my team, but when we played her middle school team, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to stop that girl. So all we focused on was, let's just get in her head. I know she likes to go end to end. So the second she crosses half court, let's yell, take a charge, take a charge, take a charge. Hopefully stop her from getting all the way into the basket where she's going to finish no matter what. So just different things like that can really help kiddos that might not be as fast or as skilled as their player, but it can still help them get the stops they need.
Oh, that's coaching inside the game. That's inside the game coaching. What strategy do you use to motivate your players on the court and off the court?
Yeah, so for me, I always say, number one, who's your first option? You are always your first option when you get the ball. That's why you have it in your pocket. You're in triple threat. You're seeing what you have. But at the end of the day, I say, before you leave a practice, a skill session, an open gym, you have to come tell me what you did well before you can ever leave a gym. You can't leave thinking, well, I did this bad, or you can't come into practice knowing what you don't do well. We do Zoom calls with our teams. We do a lot of paper assignments where we talk about our strengths, our teammates' strengths. I've had our team do individual scouting reports on every single player that on their team so that they know these are the strengths of my teammates. These are the areas I need to get them the ball, or these are the areas I shouldn't get this girl the ball. Or if I see that this girl is not very good with her left, I'm going to come give her support, or I'm going to help make sure she starts her plays to the right. So just that type of, I think when you give players the IQ, and the why behind things, they have a lot more confidence to go play, not be afraid to make mistakes because they know everybody on that team understands where they might need to pick up. And I also make it so everybody on my team, no matter what position you are, you have to know the 1 through the 5 on any play we do. Because if I get stuck in the air, I already know where my dish is. Or if I get stuck in the key, I already know where I can hit my player because I know where they're cutting next. So I think motivation comes from kids having the tools and the understanding to be confident enough to go out and do what you ask them to do.
Wow, that's amazing. Last couple of questions we get you out of here. What advice do you have for young coaches looking to make a positive impact on their teams like you guys do?
Yeah, so I think what I would say is you always have to watch who your coaching circle is, right? Especially as a young coach, you have to have those people that you can talk genuinely and honestly with and authentically with. I have probably 2 or 3 coaches that I know that have been on coaching staffs with me that I can call and talk to, and it's not going anywhere else, but we can vent, we can brainstorm instead of being messy out in the public, in the community. And then you have to know who those people are because you have to know who has your back in those moments and who you can really trust. And a lot of people will say, you know, I do this and I'm a coach and I do that, but you don't always know. So you have to be able to trust the people that are in those circles with you and trust that the community also trusts them. So that's huge for new coaches. But then the other thing is you have to adopt your own style. If coaches come in and I tell my coaches all the time, don't come in trying to be just like me. That's not realistic. Don't come in trying to be just like Verdell Billingsley. Don't try to be just like Laura Carr. Be your own person. Take all of the different styles you're seeing, and now form the type of coach you want to be. And then outside of that, again, collaborate. If you ask anybody in our program, if we're at a tournament where we take all of our players or all of our teams, I'll go to 16 games a day just because I want to go watch. I am in everybody's practices throughout the season because I truly learn new drills from my coaches. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. This would be great for me to run with mine. And we have so many coaches in the gym. We have 5, 6, 7 coaches in the gym at one time that you're able to bounce those things off of each other. You're able to say, hey, maybe I'm not seeing so high level. Can you tell me where this person might need adjustment? And you're able to have that relationship. You're able to have that relationship where you trust. And now your players trust that you have their best interest at heart because you're bouncing ideas off of other people to make your players the best they can be.
Yeah. And what will you have to offer young athletes that come to your program to play under your tutelage?
I think just truly that you're always going to be coached by name. You're always going to have an individual approach. Within the first week, I knew every single player's name. For my 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th grade players, I'm talking to your high school coaches to say, what do you need from them? Because I'm going to do that. If you ask Coach Galloway, Coach Carter, at Notre Dame and Anthony Wayne, like those just came to my head specifically, hey, I'm doing workouts with your girl, your player. What do you want them to do? How will they operate within your offense? And where will they score for the most part? So I can make sure I'm working on that with them and not wasting their time. So a very individual approach, a huge team approach, because again, we have all of our coaches involved. And then again, whatever you need, if you need anything, once you've been in our program, we've coached you once, you have us. You get discounts for whatever we do moving forward, but you always have access to that one-on-one or group approach as well. And I think just the mental health, a lot of people say that they do it, and a lot of programs have the little buzzword mental health on, their website or on their flyers. But I would dare to ask them, what does that look like? What is the mental health program that you have? What is the approach that you have? Because it is very much so in game, in practice, in moment, outside of games, outside of practice. It's checking on players as well. And then like this fall coming up, there's a ton of players with injuries. So outside of just the skill building, we'll be having meetup sessions for players that have maybe come back from injuries or going through injuries. They can all talk to each other, hopefully get some metrics programs in. to help talk about injury prevention, and just making sure that you're being cultivated as all-around person. I mean, you started doing interviews with all of our players, right? Because we're building them as not just athletes, but how do you now articulate yourself when you have to be interviewed or when a college coach calls you? So yes, I think that's all outside of the actual player development. And then just to be completely honest and transparent, our AAU team, our 7th grade gold team went to Run for the Roses, and I would venture to say we are one of the only programs in this area that went with their entire roster. Even though Jazz was injured, she was still with us, but nobody on our team had fallen off. We went with everybody, and we went with a positive mindset. So I think just being able to say you will also have that long-term trajectory with us, because once you rock with us, we'll rock until the wheels fall off.
Yeah. That's excellent. And we just thank you for coming on here. And like I said, I just want to tell you from me personally too, continue to do what you're doing, you and your program, because y'all making a great impact. And I just look forward to seeing what's to come to you next season for your high school career, and even for, you know, next year's AAU for the girls, because I know they're expecting big things and their development is just going from level to level. It's just going up, and you know they're going to be amazing college players, and you're going to be looking back one day like, wow. So I know you never give yourself the credit because it's inside you and you doing what you love. And they say if you're doing something you love, it's easy, it's not work. So continue to be great, continue to, you know, just put your love and your heart into these players like you doing, and drown the outside noise in, because we know what you really doing it for. It's sad that coaches and different people have to go from hearing different stuff, and people, you know, kind of putting false stuff in the air, people doing certain things, you know, that's the negative part, but it's really about the players, and that's the way you keep it, and that's the program you run, as a clean program all about the kids, and that's how it should be. So we just thank you.
And I appreciate you. I know we talked this past year, and it was, you know, hey, how can we get more kids involved? And you really did your big one and you ran with it. It wasn't just, hey, we can get kids once a week. And you were literally doing multiple kids a week and getting these kids interview options. And you're still, I mean, we have more kids set up. So I appreciate everything you've done as well. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Niki McCoy.
Yeah.